All right, Taurus, welcome to your monthly horoscope for March of 2015. My name is Athen. So this is a very impactful month, very transformative, very powerful, very inspiring. This is the last of the Uranus Pluto squares taking place this month at the beginning, in the middle of the month. But this whole month leads in with a lot of inspiration as the fast-moving planets go over the Uranus-Pluto squaring, while also going over the South Node. And of course, the Sun over the South Node creates the eclipse. So this is the eclipse season now also for the next 6 months in terms of the new beginnings that are shaping up this month. Very powerful stuff here. A lot can be done. A lot of it has to do with the transformations and changes that have been taking place over the past few years with this Uranus squaring up to Pluto energy. You guys have had Uranus in your 11th house. There's a part of you wanting to break free in terms of your contribution and giving and being of service and your ideals in many ways, with Uranus transiting your 11th. And that's been sort of squaring up to this restructuring that's happening with your guys' subconscious, with your transparency in life, taking the power to be more open and more transparent. That's been Pluto transiting your 8th house in Sagittarius. So this squaring of energy has been creating a lot of tension, a lot of releasing, and this is the last of it for this whole aspect. You see, very powerful here. So it starts at the beginning of the month when we have Venus conjuncting up to the South Node on the 1st. So right at the beginning there. And this is all involving that 11th house in terms of the South Node. So this ongoing theme of these old ideas, old patterns, old notions and belief systems that have been holding you back in regards to contributing, giving, being of service, joining the group, joining the collective, maybe regarding your friends, humanitarian things, all of these 11th house sort of activities, the enjoyment that you get from your work, perhaps for a lot of you, because there's an emphasis on your work, or has been. So maybe for a lot of you, releasing from these old notions about, these old notions that are essentially preventing you from enjoying your work. And in this sense, it's giving, because the ultimate satisfaction that we get from our work is giving and being of service, you see. So a realization of this month, but it starts with Venus going over that South Node, so wanting to release these old energies or old systems and feeling good about it. This is a nice entry of the month. The first 10 days of the month are very nice leading into it in terms of they're very inspirational, very motivational energies. Okay, we're going to want to do this. At least the energy will be there to want to do this and to make these changes. So Venus over the South Node enjoying, wanting that release. We also have Mercury opposing up to Jupiter at this time, involving your 3rd house where Jupiter's been transiting, and your 9th house where Mercury went retrograde last month. So in regards to this, you guys recently came to some new understandings last month in regards to your overall life path, your direction, having inspiration in your life. These are all the 9th house things, perhaps a new philosophy, new spiritual understanding. Now that Mercury is going to be opposing up to Jupiter, which isn't a bad thing. It's just a matter of balancing, and actually it's very optimistic, because any aspect with Jupiter is an optimism. In this sense, we just want to make sure we're grounding that optimism. So it's an optimism of your life path, of your overall life direction and where you're headed. This is really good. Now all you want to do is you just want to ground that with the day-to-day activities. Jupiter's been transiting your 3rd house of the day-to-day stuff, taking care of, the communications, the correspondence, teaching, learning. Some of you have had a lot of opportunity to perhaps do a lot of learning or a lot of teaching. So in either case, feeling very good about it, and this is again spawning these new beginnings this month. Now that same Jupiter that's transiting your 3rd house is trining up to this whole Uranus-Pluto square, trining up to Uranus of this aspect. So there is this wanting to change, wanting excitement. And this is how the month starts off for all of us, is wanting to mix things up, wanting to break free, wanting that excitement in our life. Okay? And that's the motivation moving forward. That's the support that we have with this easy aspect moving forward this month. Now on the 4th, we've got Venus going over that Uranus and Mars going over that South Node. So this is where we start to want the freedom. Venus over Uranus is this enjoyment of the excitement, of the freedom that we get when we are perhaps being of service or helping and assisting others. So there's an opportunity there. Okay, now of course that is activating this whole Uranus-Pluto square. So it starts there, you see. Now Mars goes over the South Node, which is this driven energy to release the old stuff, because like I said, there's some old things regarding the South Node, belief systems, past life, karmic stuff, that's preventing you guys from enjoying the work or being of service, joining the community, joining the world, joining the collective in some way. So that Mars going over the South Node is a drive and an energy to be used to move away from that old karmic cycle or those old energies. Okay, so it's there, utilize it, channel it into this taking charge. See, this whole aspect between Uranus and Pluto is about stepping into your power. The power to change, the power to change your life, but the power to just change yourself in general, you see. And it's involving this transparency, being open, and it's involving this contribution and being of service. Now on the 5th, we've got the full moon in Leo, which is, the new moon of Aquarius, which recently started. This whole cycle was in your 10th house. So you guys last month had some sort of new beginning regarding perhaps the work or public sector. Anything you're doing on a public level or for your career with that 10th house. Now things culminate with that full moon in Leo in that 4th house of yours. Okay, so this is another very inspiring energy. One, because it's Leo. Okay, but two, because it's trining up perfectly to the Uranus-Pluto square. So there's lots of support early on in the month, and this has to do with your enjoyment and self-expression of your feelings or of home and family in some way. You see, this month in many ways is going to be about balancing the stuff you're doing on the public or career level with the home and family stuff. But in either case, a culmination of that big picture career stuff this month. And that's fueling, I think, a lot of this inspiration and drive to make these changes with the Uranus-Pluto square. Now on the 8th, we've got Mercury going into your 10th house of Aquarius, where I think you'll start to be thinking more in terms of, because see, you guys with Aquarius 10th house cusps, you automatically want to contribute and give through your work, at least on some subtle level with that Aquarius energy. So thinking about how you can give and contribute, but perhaps just overall thinking about your work in general, is going to be the sort of background of all of these changes. It's sort of the foundation, you might say, in many ways. And this is good. This is what you want to do. And this whole aspect could be involving career in some way too, which is helping you understand more about your contribution and you being of service, you see. Now on the 9th, we've got Mars trining up to that Jupiter. Okay, this is driven optimism. This is that drive. This is where Mars energy really starts to kick in, because we have the optimistic energy of Jupiter assisting us this whole month. And it's the drive to make change, the drive to set those intentions, to take those initiations, to take those steps, and to start getting that ball moving. So it's available. It's an easy aspect, but it's there, which means it's available if you want it. Okay. Now on the 11th, we've got Mars conjuncting up to this whole Uranus-Pluto squaring business. So this is where the Mars energy is not just optimistic in terms of your drives and desires. It's very, very profound and very powerful in terms of you wanting to break free from some limitations. And that's what this month really signifies, is breaking free from those limitations, especially around the 11th, because not only is Mars going over Uranus on the 11th, but that's when the exact aspect of the Uranus-Pluto square goes precise, goes exact. It's from the 11th to the 22nd, the middle part of the month here. So with Mars here, utilize it. Use that Mars energy to get that ball moving, to get that initiative, okay? Wanting that freedom, wanting to break free again of perhaps some of those things holding you back regarding that 11th house. This is past life stuff or just, old stuff, you see. Now on the 12th, this is where we can really start to enjoy our motivation, okay, for all of us, because Venus goes into Aries on the 12th. Now this is your 12th house. So there's a lot of, for all of us, there's a lot of unconscious elements of ourself, our subconscious minds being exposed this month, which is good because we're understanding a lot about the deeper elements of ourselves. Now when Venus goes into Aries, this is your 12th house, so you can enjoy this, okay? And I think for you Taurans, that's what it's going to be about, is enjoying the behind the scenes stuff, the diving into the psyche, getting that rest, meditating, doing these spiritual things that help open you up to it. And it starts with Venus going into Aries, because you guys are motivated by this stuff, or at least could be, with Aries ruled 12th houses, with Aries ruling your 12th house. So use that motivational energy to dive deep, but it's just to see the behind the scenes, to see the truth, to see who you are on a spiritual level, at a core level, you see, and see what these, unconscious elements are at work here. Now on the 14th, we've got Saturn going retrograde this month in Scorpio, in your 7th house. So a lot of you recently started putting in discipline, hard work, maturity with your relationships, okay? And this is good. So now Saturn going retrograde is a reflection on this. How are they going? How are these structures being built with your relationships? How is this hard work being utilized? So it's a reflection time. And I think a lot of this transformational stuff, it's like, it's all happening, but then there's relationships. They're kind of like just there on the side kind of thing. Or they're just a part of the whole thing. So in this sense, reflecting on relationships is going to help you understand these shifts and changes much better, and of course help your relationships improve as well. Now on the 14th, we've got the Sun going into Pisces, which is that 11th house of yours. So this is where the spiritual process begins for a lot of us, okay? And so for you, it's about understanding more of the drives, the subconscious things at work here regarding these old notions of the community, the service, the global shifts. So the Sun here for the next 30 days is helping you see that and is shining that light and that awareness in regards to these community or global types of things. So utilize that. You're going to have the Sun there for the next 30 days. The Sun shines, the Sun allows you to see. It's like a torch, and it's a torch in your sector of the enjoyment in your work, the contribution, the service, etc. Okay, but it's a spiritual process for you guys, with Pisces ruling your 11th. Now on the 18th, we've got Mercury conjuncting up to Neptune, which is all this activity in regards to your 10th house. You see the 10th house is still very much activated, has been. And so in this sense, in regards to your work, career, public level stuff, you guys have been already contributing or wanting to give. There's Neptune transiting your 10th house, which is this either connection that you're having to your work, and more than likely through that connection, it's you're giving. You see, Neptune, the satisfaction, you might say, satisfaction that we get with Neptune is when we're compassionate, when we're giving, when we're selflessly giving ourselves into our work. And that's what you've been doing. So now with Mercury going over Neptune here on the 18th, understanding something very clear about this. You see, and again, it's a spiritual understanding, because that's what Neptune represents. Very spiritual element here this last part of the month. Now on the 20th, we have that solar eclipse in Pisces in that 11th house. Okay, so new beginnings there for the next 6 months, but for the rest of your life. These solar eclipses, all eclipses are very powerful, very profound times. And it's a very profound time right now with the Uranus Pluto squaring up, okay, with this bottling and releasing of energy. So this is an understanding again, and you want to use this time around the 20th to reflect, because the information, or just intuition rather, that you're gathering around this time is going to be the drive forward into the following months. Okay, and it starts on the 23rd, give or take, when Mars shifts into Aries, okay, which is that 12th house. So this is where you become more motivated, and a lot of this is about going with the flow. You see, there's this energy that's being released, but for you guys, for one reason or another, personally, you are wanting to do it in a way that's going with the flow and taking it easy, okay, not overexerting yourself, which is good. So utilize that, but utilize the energy moving forward, because it is Aries. However, it's in your 12th house. So perhaps it's something to do with uncovering more about yourself. Perhaps it's giving, contributing even more. You know, the 12th house, not so much giving and contributing as much as it's just you have this peace in your life. You have this simplicity, and you're wanting that simplicity, and then through that will be your greatest contribution, you see. Or through your own spiritual evolution will be your greatest contribution, you see. But in either case, it's active oriented because we are talking about Mars. Now on the 27th, we've got Mercury going into Pisces, your 11th house, helping you understand more clearly a lot of these things and shifts that are happening regarding the 11th house. Global transform, the larger picture stuff for the community, giving back your enjoyment, these types of things. Good imagination and intuition for all of us with that Mercury in Pisces, and again, more of an understanding of the subconscious, your spiritual self in essence. The non-self, you see, Pisces is everything. It's not really unconscious or subconscious. It's you. It's you at your very core. It's your true self. Understanding more about it. There's an opportunity there with Mercury. Who you are on a deep level or on a true level. Now, the last aspect of the month, the sun goes over the South Node. So an understanding of the past, an understanding of these energies that you're moving from and that you're releasing from during this whole cycle. So another understanding here, and these understandings sort of segue a little bit into April, okay? But the major shifts have definitely happened by the end of this month, and the ball, you might say, of our life starts to move forward, or at least can be, when we put that energy towards this new beginning, mostly around the solar eclipse for the next 6 months. All right, Taurus, have a fantastic month. Thank you again for all of your support. If you'd like a personal reading, please let me know. If you have any questions, please let me know. And I will talk to you next time. Do subscribe if you're new to the channel. Check out the weekly horoscopes for a more detailed look at this. Also, I do daily horoscopes as well. Check those out. And I will talk to you next time. Take care.